7:18, and we will start our building committee. 2.3, upgrade of JKL parking lot.
So just to note, we are removing 2.1 and 2.2 for later presentations. 2.3, we have Mr. Saldana.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Moreno, fellow board members, Mrs. Servillon. Just a quick update on the Janet K. Landrum parking lot. I'm proud to say that as a district, we have moved forward. We had seen that pile of caliche for a long time, and we're probably about 95% complete now. But we're gonna show you all some pictures real quick. You can see right there, that particular picture is on our side on the maintenance. That's what they're working on right now. Should be ready early next week. It's a lot more than that now. They've already gone and done some blacktop. So that one is almost complete, and that's the
gonna be all-
last 10-15%.
That's gonna be all blacktop, right? All of it?
Oh, yes, sir.
All of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just the first layer there. Yeah, go ahead, next slide, please. And there's just another view from it. So it really is a lot of parking space. Once you get to see some surface on it besides the dirt, it really becomes even a bigger site parking lot. Go ahead. And theirs is the one that is complete. We're very proud of it. We have a total of, we're able to park 52 buses on there. Not only that, we have an additional 90 parking lots for our personnel, so we shouldn't have anybody parking in the street, that dirt road anymore. And all that, we've had discussions with them that everybody needs to utilize that parking lot, because we did spend some money on it, and it looks really nice. So also, our employees are very grateful that it is being utilized by them. So there's just a bunch of pictures, you know, as you can see there. Does anybody have any particular questions on any pictures? I know Mr. Silva went by last week to see it.
Will the other parking lot be striped or no?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yeah,
That'll be-
yeah.
that'll be
They're
parking lot,
not
okay.
through, on that other side. The one what you're seeing there.
That one.
Is for maintenance. We haven't finished that yet. That's the 10%, 15% that's still lacking.
Are
But
those,
they just did the blacktop.
are those gonna be parking spaces for maintenance vehicles or for personnel as well?
Personnel.
Personnel, right now, personnel. I need to see once we have all that done, and if we can put our maintenance trucks, then we will park them there. I know right now, the police department, I've spoken to Chief Sosa, and we're just gonna let the police cars park up front, at the very front of the building, and all of their personnel will have to park in the big parking lot. I mean, that's what it's for. And that way, our police can get in and out quickly, you know, should it, you know, to go to respective campuses.
So when
things
will
of
it
that
be
nature.
complete, this project? When,
Maybe by the end of next week.
oh, next week?
Hopefully by the end of next week, yes, sir. So they really got, like I said, from Thanksgiving, they have worked pretty fast. But, you know, at the end, I just want to say thank you to the board, Ms. Servillon, and everybody that's worked on this project. It's really good to see it almost completed. It really is. So again, on behalf of our employees, we want to thank you all for being patient with us, but it's about to be complete.
So you see that it was in two phases. So this is parking lot A. Remember, this was the parking lot A side, and then on the next slide, you'll see parking lot B.
Yeah.
So that's the one that they're working on currently. So A is complete, B is being worked on. As you can see, that's across the street, and before it was gravel caliche. And so I parked there personally myself, and so now that will be paved as well.
So that should be right there. Perfect.
Any questions, comments? Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
sir.
for your support.
So next we have Mr. Flores. Oh, let me wait for
No,
you.
you can do it. 2.4, review and discussion of fencing projects.
So next we have Mr. Flores that will come up and walk us through our fencing project. Sorry, sir.
That's all right.
It's all right. Good evening,
We'll get you next to me.
Board President Moreno, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Ms. Servillon. I'm here to just give you a quick update on the fencing project. Right off the start is right prior to the end of the year, semester, we are looking at Veterans Memorial Academy. VMA, we have about a 2 to 3 week window for our timeline on completion of the fence. It is about 80% complete, more so, a little more than that. We have just a little bit remaining on the fence project right now. Those are custom door gates that they're putting with all the material that they need to secure the actual fence line. So that being said, that's just what we're looking at. We do have some pictures here. You can go ahead and scroll through those. That will show you what we have, the montage up in the front, and then, of course, the fencing all around the school. Those are the areas that are still needing, off to the side, some closures.
And this is all 8-foot fencing.
Correct, yes. So we do have 8-foot fencing, black vinyl coated gauge. And then, of course, up in the front is the ornamental fencing, which is the fancier fencing. So right now, it's just the gates that we are pending. Once we get the gates, and it will be secured. The KLC access control camera for the administration building piece, it is complete, so that is live. So everybody has to buzz in order to be allowed to go in. Once we get the gates in place, which the first part will be the front, and then they'll work their way towards the back, that will secure that inner part of the campus without any concerns.
If you go to the next slide, I'd like to point something out. Let's see, who's manning the slides? Forward, right there. So this is where we were really concerned, because as you all know, that's all an open area. So now it will be enclosed by the fencing, so somebody from the outside cannot get in as before, or I guess get out either. Before, that was very easy access. And so we knew that that open area was something that we really needed to secure. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see that that fencing is connected all the way around. And one more slide, one more. You will see that right here, we need the gates that are missing, right, Renee? That's what you're talking about?
They'll be right on that side. These pods have the accessibility for egress. So there is not going to be, we're not going to have a fence that will go across. That will allow, because we have a 2 double set of doors to secure our students. We are just basically waiting for them to
close
set
it
those
here.
pieces, to close those, to prevent anybody from coming in. Same with this, it's going to be a center piece in the middle to secure, a center pole to secure the 2 sides of the fence.
This looks really great, and I do want to make it just clear that VMA, the campus does have an outer fence, and that encompasses Sunny Brazil and the campus, and then this is the inner fence specifically for the campus.
Yes, ma'am. So we already have a perimeter fence. So we have a guard shack up in the front. So those security measures are in place. This is just the inner piece to allow the students and the staff to be able to walk freely. Being that it isn't, bless you, being that it is an 8-foot fence, it allows us, and with an intruder auditor coming by to show us that we are in compliance with our students and the accessibility of having those doors open on the inside for a little bit.
Also, the fact that once you check in at the guard shack, you have, without this fencing, you had access to go into any pod, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So, I mean, you're checked in, you might not stop at the office, you might just keep going because of the way VMA is built, or go to the ag farm, or wherever you decide to go. This ensures there's only one way in, so that would be at, the main office.
Correct,
up
the
front.
admin building, which they still, once the gates are up, which is one of the first ones, it actually will, you have to buzz in order for you to go in. And then there's been some arrangements that has been done by Ms. Lopez. So out in the hallway, she actually has a staff member, and that person is monitoring that hallway and keeping an eye on those that are coming in to allow them to come in and be able to hear them as well.
Sorry, just for clarification.
Yes, sir.
All the schools have a fence now, correct?
All the schools have already had a fence.
Yeah, they've already had one,
Perimeter
correct.
fence wise, I know that in speaking with Ms. Servillon and the buildings committee, we are looking at phasing in fencing
Yes, sir.
to upgrade. The state has imposed some changes with our fencing guidelines. So it is going to require us to start looking long-term on the fencing. That's part of the other reason I'm here, because we are looking at the high school as well. So we do have fencing, contrary to, you have fencing around, but the fencing guidelines have changed after, unfortunately, with the tragedy of Uvalde.
Yes,
Those fence lines have changed the guidelines, and we
Right.
are now having some time to look at and making those changes.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, so like for safety reasons, for years and years, we've been proactive on spending on protecting our kids and our staff and our campuses. But this is just an additional safety measures, which I think it's amazing, I think it's great, to stay ahead of the curve, and when things happen, we're investing back into the protection of our kids and our staff. I think it's great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
And I mean, we can't do it without the board and the board support. But I will tell you that is one of the biggest things that we are looking at is always the safety and security for staff, students, and the public, those that are coming in, all our educational stakeholders.
And I want to personally take this time to thank Ms. Cervellon for creating this position because, I mean, Mr. Flores, you go above and beyond on your job. I've just heard great things about you from members of the district. And to really, as a community member, to have this position, to have your position, to have you lead, I mean, I don't think a lot of people know this, like, you created this position, like, everything that you do, you didn't follow any, well, besides the state guidelines, but.
Well, there
you
was a
really-
job
I got it.
description.
It was a set of guidelines and a set of standards that I was placed.
Some
But
high ones.
I got to give Mr. Saldana a lot of credits because the credit goes to him. He set the base work for this, and he's still a big mentor for me and coming in and acclimating to our district and implementing what we need to start implementing.
And it
So I
really
You guys
is-
get along, right? You get along?
yeah, every once in a while. No, we get along. We get along well.
Who pays for lunch, though? But,
I mean, you certainly do go above and beyond, and he's
Big
gonna
time.
be evaluating other fencing, I mean, they
Correct.
are, actually. I think one weak spot, I'm not gonna say it here.
No. well,
yeah, don't.
I'll tell you all
We'll talk
later.
But I really do want to applaud you, Mr. Flores, Mr. Saldana, Chief Sosa. I know all three of y'all, we have a really good team making sure our kids are safe, and I just,
We can't do it without Chief Sosa and the officers, which, by the way, is, for all officers out there, we definitely thank them for everything they do. That's the blue for today, for them. The next project that we're looking at is the high school project. I know I had already started presenting this early on. There's been questions by board members regarding, and Ms. Cervellon regarding the fence and the continuation with that project with larger schools. The high school, we do have a budget or a quote right now of $83,560 and change. Company's Hurricane Fencing, obviously for increased safety. There is still a lot of open areas at the high school, and that is the purpose of today's presentation to you in the hopes that we can proceed with this quote and make this the next project after the completion of EMA. So on this is a quick map to show we do everything with the stars. Some of the issues that we've looked at and going around, and I've been around this campus quite a bit. The main stars on the entry, Greyhound Lane coming in, those gates are just a small gate that anybody can jump over. The proposal is an 8-foot fence, which would be a black vinyl coated fence. And that would give us a lot more accessibilities to allowing people that are going to be coming in. They have to go in through the guard shack without anybody jumping over. Down to the pedestrian, so off on the other side of the guard shack, you have a pedestrian walkway that has a very small fence line. It is dated, it needs to get changed. But because we're also putting from the first building, so if you look at A Hall, and it goes all the way down by the guard shack or all the way to the current fence line, which is by the canal. That's gonna be 8 feet. So that pedestrian walkway will move up to 8 feet to support the weight and to support the other structure, because if not, we're gonna have another issue of somebody quickly jumping over the fence line. So that will secure those pieces on that side. On the far side where it says HVAC, where the chillers are at, we'll run another gate or another fence line, which would be black vinyl. It will go all the way up to where the trailer park fence line is at. In between, so you see the star in the center? That one green star right there in the middle is a little niche that actually leads into glass doors. We're gonna look at putting ornamental fencing there, and it will have the egress, push panic bars to allow people to, students to go out, but it will secure anybody from going to those glass doors and give it another barrier and to give the access. Over by the parking lot area, so if you look at the science all the way into the gym, that whole area will be blocked off. We will have gate that will go across and then several gate doors to allow some access throughout the day, but that will be secured. They currently have a fence line already in place, so we're gonna utilize the existing fence line that they have. On the other side, this is kind of separate to one of the projects, but that Ms. Serviona and I have had a conversation, and Mr. Silva as well. But courtyard area, this is a separate project. So what we're looking at with the big fencing all around that I've just mentioned will be separate from this, but there is some, this is gonna be a lot smaller number as far as labor is concerned that we're looking at. But overall, this would enclose and encompass the security of the high school. It would prevent anybody from going in and out or make it a lot more difficult for them.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you.
We'll see about that 83,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of that, there was, looking over the board weekly packet, I saw, and I don't know if you can elaborate on this a little bit, Ms. Servion, a byline that said fencing grant.
We did get some money. We're not thinking of using it for fencing because it's for safety and security. Okay, I'll give you a minute to explain. Go, Renee.
She's already giving me her signal. So we did receive a couple of grants. So one of the grants that we did receive is for Silent Panic grant, which it's give or take about 39,000. That's completely separate. Those are the little push buttons and that they can wear, and that you have a little button on the bottom on the entry. That we're expecting. The other grant that we're looking at, which is going to go over a couple of years, the state is looking at about a $462,000 grant. It is safety. That is the only thing they're going to give it, but it is contingent that we are meeting all the guidelines that the state is implementing for us, fence lines, et cetera. So they have a list of things that we're looking at. We've had a conversation, Ms. Serviona and I, regarding that 461 and what we feel is best suited for the 461. And if you wouldn't mind, then we're looking at actually, since the Musk Foundation did not come through with the access controls, we're looking at having access control, utilizing the 461 in full for access controls across all our campuses.
And when you say badge access,
a badge access. You have a card reader. I've been working with Chief Sosa as well regarding this. So that would allow the access, and we can pretty much deal with who's going to go in, what time they're going to go in, et cetera.
Is that
So-
going to be something that'll be, sorry, I get really excited about badge access. Is that going to be something that would be phased in, like it would be the high school and maybe VMA first and then?
No.
No.
We strategically go, Renee.
Oh, sorry.
Strategically looked at doors and entrances, but go ahead.
We're strategically looking at it. In fact, I just sent a bunch of quotes to Ms. Servion with a huge number because we were looking at the Musk Foundation. We're going to have to go back campus by campus, chief, myself, and a little group going around checking to see which are the most high points or needed points that we need to place these access controls. So we are going to be going back. We do have a number of how many each campus are going to be required, but we're going to have to cut down that number basically in half from what we had. So in total, we were looking with the Musk Foundation at about 800,000, 881, I think is the number total, 1,000. So about half of that amount is what we're going to be looking at with this grant in order for us to do the access control pieces.
So when we look at the safety and security, if we feel we need the 800,000, are we to ensure that our kids are safe and secure, we will come to the board and we will go to fund balance to make sure we get that done. So we're gonna look at those doors strategically, and then we can roll out that information. I know that, Mr. Flores already started sending me the quotes, and so we're gonna start with that, and then we'll do some more legwork before we get the entire, proposal to you all. I know that that money comes to us in June, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's what we're looking at to prepare them for the following school year for 23-24.
And the way that that grant works is that if we're spending and we spend the 461,000, the state will reimburse us that amount, up to that amount.
Okay.
Any questions, any concerns?
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank
Appreciate
you very much. Thank you.
Agenda.
Y'all have a great evening.
Agenda item. 3.1, committee concerns. I do have, Coach Aldana, I do have one question for you. The tennis courts, we are done? Perfect.
Yeah, I was at Riverside yesterday. They look great.
We did a walkthrough on Monday, this past Monday, and they look really nice, really nice.
How many kids are taking advantage of it?
I believe when I spoke to Ms. Fernandez, she said they had a total of 36 already practicing
There you
out there.
go.
So that's a pretty good number. It's a pretty good number, so
When will the
know-
project be completed? Is it already done, or?
the only thing that's pending, no, it's completely done. We just have to put a couple of more wires to the main box to get some final electricity. over
Lighting
it.
also, Coach?
Lighting, yes, yeah.
And then
We have
this-
2 security lights on there, and later on, we'll look at
The green
possibly-
screens, I don't know what they're called. They're like
They're
curtains.
windscreens.
There
They're
you go.
windscreens, yes. That comes through another department, but yes, they're gonna have to be implemented, because it's pretty windy out there. It's wide in the open. So, that'll be a conversation we'll have with that department in the near future, so they can make sure that facility is very well taken care of for our students.
There you go.
Anything else, Ms. O?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item, adjournment, 7:40.